So I would never tell anyone about this, but last month, I spent $280 on a weekend trip to Bintan that I absolutely couldn't afford. Not because I wanted to go, but because everyone in my group chat was going and I couldn't bear the thought of being the only one who said no. So I put it on my credit card and I told myself, okay, I'll figure it out later, and spent the entire weekend calculating how many meals I would have to skip to pay for it. And here's what's really happening. We're living in the first generation where financial decisions are made publicly. Every brunch gets posted, every vacation gets documented, every purchase becomes content. We are all pretending we are not keeping score, but we absolutely are. Your financial choices aren't just about you anymore, they're about how you fit in your social circle. Previous generations had financial peer pressure too, but was limited to people they actually knew. Now, you're competing with everyone's highlight reel, your friends' vacation photos, your colleague's new laptop, the influencer's designer bag, and it's all mixed together in one endless stream of things other people can afford. It's like this. Remember when you were a kid and you wanted that toy that everybody else had? Yeah? Remember that feeling? Now imagine that feeling now, except it's constant. And instead of a $10 toy, it's a $100 brunch, $500 concert tickets, or those $2,000 holidays. And instead of asking your parents, you're asking for your credit card. Let me break down what's actually happening in the Finfluencer space. These are people who have built massive followings by talking about money, and some of them are genuinely helpful. They teach budgeting, explain investing, share realistic financial advice, but others, they're essentially running sophisticated marketing campaigns disguised as education. This is extremely problematic. The same platforms that show you your friends' expensive lifestyles are now showing you experts who promise to teach you how to afford that lifestyle. Make $5,000 monthly with this simple trading strategy. I went from broke to millionaire in 2 years. This crypto course will change your life. It's financial peer pressure with a basic business model. Now, these influencers aren't just selling courses or products, they're selling a lifestyle. They show you their luxury apartments, their expensive cars, their designer clothes, and then say, I can teach you to have this too. But what they don't show you is the years of losses, the failed investments, or the fact that their real income comes from selling courses, not from the strategies that they're teaching. Think about this scenario. You're following a finance influencer who posts about making $10,000 monthly from crypto trading. Their content is polished, their results look impressive, and they're offering a course for just $297. You buy it, follow their strategies, and lose $1,000 in the first month. Later, you realize their real income isn't from trading, it's from selling that course to thousands of people like you. So how do we navigate this landscape of financial social pressure and influence? It starts with understanding that everyone is curating their financial image. That friend who's always posting about expensive restaurants, they might be living paycheck to paycheck. The influencer showing off their investment gains, they may be cherry-picking the best trades while hiding their losses. Here's my approach to financial social media. I follow people who show the full picture, the failures alongside the successes, the budgeting struggles alongside the investment wins. I unfollow anyone who promises quick riches or easy money. And most importantly, I remember that social media is a highlight reel, not a documentary. When you make financial decisions based on social pressure, you're not just spending money you don't have. You're training yourself to value appearance over substance. For short-term social comfort over long-term financial security. Every time you say yes to something you can't afford just to fit in, you're choosing your social identity over your financial future. The truth is, the people who are genuinely building wealth aren't posting about it constantly. They're not trying to impress anyone with their spending. They're quietly saving, investing, and making boring financial decisions that compound over time. The most financially successful people I know have the most boring Instagram feeds. It's like this. Social media financial pressure is like being in a casino where everyone around you is winning and posting about it. You see the celebrations, the big wins, the excitement, but you don't see the losses, the debt, the stress. The house always wins, and in this case, the house is a system that profits from your financial insecurity. The reality is, true financial confidence doesn't come from keeping up with other people's spending. It comes from knowing that you can afford your own life without going into debt. It comes from having savings that let you say no to social pressure. It comes from understanding that your worth isn't measured by your ability to match other people's lifestyle. So the next time you feel pressured to spend money you don't have to keep up with your social circle, or you're tempted to follow financial advice from someone who's really just selling you a dream, remember this. The most powerful financial decision you can make is to stop caring about what other people think about your money choices. Because guess what? At the end of the day, they're not going to pay your bills. They are not going to fund your future. This one time, I was having a terrible week at work, and I found myself on Shopee, 2 a.m., buying a $180 skincare set that I definitely didn't need. And I was checking out, I was literally telling myself this, you deserve this, you've been working so hard. And here's the thing, I bought it not because I needed skincare, I just needed to feel better about myself. That's the YOLO culture in action. You only live once, treat yourself. But here's what's really happening. Global trends like FOMO, YOLO, the hustle culture aren't just changing how we think about life, we are rewiring how we think about money. So we're living in Singapore, but we're absorbing financial behaviors from American influencers, European lifestyle bloggers, the Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, and it's creating a weird hybrid financial personality that's both ambitious and impulsive. Think of it this way. Singapore has always been pragmatic, savings-focused society. But now, we're consuming content that tells us to live in the moment, invest aggressively, and hustle for success. We're trying to balance traditional Asian financial values with global millennium and Gen Z spending culture. It's like trying to drive a car with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. You know how when you're scrolling through Instagram and you see someone's vacation in Bali and suddenly you're researching flights even though you weren't planning to travel? That's FOMO. But then you remember you're trying to save for a house down payment. So you close the app and feel guilty for even looking. The internal conflict, that's what happens when global trends collide with local financial realities. So let me break down what's actually happening when these global trends influence our spending. FOMO, fear of missing out, makes us say yes to experiences we can't afford because, well, we're terrified of being left behind. YOLO, you only live once, makes us justify impulse purchases as treating ourselves. Hustle culture makes us believe that, hey, we should be making more money, so we deserve to spend more money. And here's where it gets really problematic. These trends aren't just affecting what we buy, they're affecting how we think about money timeline. Hustle culture tells us that we should be millionaires by 25. YOLO culture tells us to spend on experience because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. FOMO tells us that everyone else is ahead of us financially. It's a perfect storm of financial anxiety and impulsive behavior. Now here's what's really insidious. These global trends are being monetized by platforms we use every day. That FOMO about missing out on a limited time offer designed to make you buy. The YOLO feeling that makes you treat yourself after a hard week. Targeted advertising knows exactly when you're most vulnerable. That hustle cultural pressure to invest in crypto or NFTs. Someone's profiting from your desperation to get rich quick. Think of this scenario. You're scrolling through TikTok and you see someone your age talking about making $50,000 from cryptocurrency. I mean, you feel that familiar pang of FOMO. Everyone else is getting rich and you're missing out. So you download a trading app, you put in $500 and lose half of it in a week. That's not investing, that's emotional spending disguised as financial strategy. So how do we navigate this landscape where global trends are constantly pushing us towards financial decisions that might not serve us? It starts with creating space between impulse and action. 48-hour rule here is simple. Wait 48 hours before making any non-essential purchase. If you still want it after 2 days and you can afford it without that, then consider it. So here's my approach to managing global trend influence. I keep a financial journal, not just tracking expenses, but reflecting on why I spent money. Was it a need, a want, or an emotional purchase? Was I trying to keep up with someone else's lifestyle? Was I feeling FOMO about missing out on something? Now, this awareness helps me separate my actual financial goals from my emotional reactions. But here's what's really happening when you don't have these safeguards. Every day, you're making dozens of micro-financial decisions influenced by global trends. That $6 coffee because you're hustling and deserve good coffee. That $30 skincare product because YOLO. That $100 concert ticket because everyone else is going and you have FOMO. None of these decisions feel significant, but they add up to thousands of dollars annually. The truth is, Singapore's financial environment is actually pretty unique. Now, we have strong social safety nets, mandatory savings through CPF, and a relatively stable economic growth. But we are absorbing financial anxiety from countries where young adults have student loan debt, no pension systems, and extreme wealth inequality. We are adopting their financial behaviors without their financial context. Well, imagine adopting workout routines from professional athletes without considering that they have personal trainers, nutritionists, and recovery specialists. You'll probably get injured. We're doing the same thing with financial trends, adopting behaviors from people in completely different economic situations and wondering why we're stressed about money. And here's where mindful financial decision-making becomes powerful. Before every purchase, ask yourself, is this aligned with my goals or my emotions? If you're buying something because you feel pressure to keep up, or because you're scared of missing out, or because you think you deserve it after a hard day, pause. That's not financial decision-making, that's emotional spending. The reality is, global trends will always be trying to influence your financial behavior. That's not going to change, but you can change how you respond to them. You can choose to be intentional about your money instead of reactive. You can choose to align your spending with your values instead of your emotions. So the next time you feel that familiar pull of FOMO or that YOLO urge to treat yourself or that hustle culture pressure to invest in something risky, remember this: the most rebellious thing you can do in the culture that profits from your financial impulsivity is to slow down. Take 48 hours, write in your journal, ask yourself what you really want. Because true financial freedom isn't about keeping up with global trends, it's about creating your own path. Oh, and gosh, I do think I honestly have the worst relationship with impulse buying. I remember that one time, I was walking through Orchard Road after a particularly stressful day at work, and I ended up spending $300 on skincare products I didn't even need. I was literally standing there on my phone, tapping at my banking app, and it just felt so disconnected, like the money wasn't even real. And here's what's really happening in Singapore's cashless world. We're making financial decisions faster than our brains can process them. Your PayLah, your GrabPay, your contactless cards, they're designed to make spending feel just effortless. But effortless isn't always mindful. Think of it this way. Every time you tap your phone to pay, you're not just buying something. You're casting a vote for the kind of financial future that you want. And here's the interesting part. Gen Z and young millennials globally are actually rewiring how we think about money and investing. But they're doing it through the same devices that make mindless spending so easy. So let me ask you something. Try writing down your last 5 purchases. What emotional state were you in at that time? Were you stressed, excited, bored? You know what? Most of us can't even remember. And that's the problem. We are financially sleepwalking through one of the world's most expensive cities. And now here's what's fascinating about this generation. They're not just spending mindlessly, they're also investing mindfully. Apps like Stash Away Simple and Save Cash Plus are allowing people to invest spare change from their daily purchases. Imagine if every time you bought that $5 coffee, you automatically invested $1. Whew, that's micro-investing, and it's turning everyday spending into long-term wealth building. But here's where it gets interesting and where we need to be careful. Social investing platforms are gamifying the stock market. You can see what your friends are investing in, follow influencers' portfolios, or even get badges for constant investing. The good is making investing accessible to people who never thought they could afford it. The bad, herd behavior in investing can be just as dangerous as herd behavior in spending. Think about it. When everyone's buying the same trending stock because it's popular on social media, that's not investing. That's just FOMO with a different name. Now here's what's really happening beneath the surface. Young adults are driving the rise of sustainable and ESG investing. They're not just asking, will this make me money? They are asking, does this align with my values? Do you know your core money values? Is it security, freedom, generosity? Because your investment choices should reflect who you are and not who the algorithm thinks you should be. And here's the thing about starting young. Even with small amounts, a 25-year-old investing $50 a month will have more money at retirement than a 35-year-old investing $150 a month. That's the power of compound interest, and is why every mindful financial decision you make today matters exponentially more than you think. So before you tap that screen for your next purchase, pause, ask yourself, am I buying this because I need it or because I'm feeling something? And before you invest in that trending stock, ask, does this align with my values and my long-term goals? Your phone is powerful. It can make you wealthy or keep you poor. The choice is in how you mindfully use it.